Hi, and welcome to Unstoppable Stories That Move, a podcast with a purpose. Our mission is to raise money for medical research while shining a light on ordinary people who do extraordinary things, from everyday athletes and artists, scientists and survivors, caregivers and changemakers. These people relentlessly pursue their dreams, pushing through pain and setbacks. But why? Why do they do it? And what makes them unstoppable? I'm your host, Sally Hed Dahlquist. You can hear my story in episode 1. And now, stay tuned to listen as these seemingly normal people share their stories of resilience and inspire us to keep moving forward. Let's get to it. Hi, everyone. I'm Sally Hed Dahlquist, zooming in today from Afton, Minnesota. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here today with the unstoppable Christy Larson. Wow. Christy is a survivor, a recovering alcoholic. She's an everyday athlete who just ran her first marathon at age 55. Wow. Amazing. First one at 55. But that was a huge uphill battle for her. Christy had always been a healthy, active person in good shape and skinny until she started drinking at age 50. And Christy secretly drank for 2 years. She completely ruined her health and almost died. She had all sorts of problems, a pulmonary embolism, and you name it, she had it. She gained 78 pounds. She couldn't run anymore or do any of the other things that she loved to do, like fishing. Even socializing with her friends and family became a burden, and she lost the trust of her husband. Today, Christy has been sober for 3 years and is a better version of her previous self. She lost the weight, regained her fitness, and was able to stop taking most of her medications. She became a health coach who practices what she preaches. She loves helping others to feel good again by taking care of the one thing that they have control over, your own body. Yeah, and she is still happily married. She's a mother of 4, grandmother of 5. And I featured Christy last week on the podcast of episode 45 on a hotline tip called Stopping the Unstoppable. We had a little chit chat. I gave her a pep talk, but there was a lot more to Christy's story than just giving her a pep talk. And I'm so glad that she agreed to share her entire journey with us for this podcast. She went from the good life, her downfall into alcoholism, and her uphill battle back to health. So let's hear from Christy how she's doing.
Thank you for having me today. I'm in Wisconsin, and I'm so glad to be here to talk about, the things that are really hard and to share my story.
Yeah. Well, when we met in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, we were running the Eau Claire Marathon, and at mile 17 and a half, I stumbled upon you. I walked past you and you were on the phone saying something like, I just don't know how I'm going to finish this. I could just sense the despair in your voice. But you finished.
Yes, it was so hard. And you arrived out of nowhere. And I really, truly believe people cross paths for a reason.
Yeah, and I was thinking deeper about that too. I mean, like, what are the chances of me walking by you at the exact same moment you were having that question? And even deeper than that is that, like a couple weeks before, I had a DNF at the Pine Line Marathon where I had to quit. If I had not quit the Pine Line, I would not have signed up for Eau Claire. I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
another kind of positive to come out of having a did not finish, a DNF.
And you showed up at the best time for me because I really, really needed somebody at that point.
Yeah, talk us through what was going on with you. The world works in mysterious ways.
Well, what was going on with me? I tell you, I was at mile 17 and I was talking to my husband, sharing the fact that, I do not know how I am going to finish this because the most I've ever ran in my whole entire life is 16 miles.
Okay.
The farthest I ran prior to this full marathon was only 10 miles. Yes, I did not train adequately. So at mile 17, 18, that's when my hips and my toes started to hurt. And, I've seen some of the pictures of myself and my form just totally deteriorated. I was hunched over. I felt like, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to do this?
Right.
And yeah. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And then you arrived and we started chit-chatting and you were asking me all these questions. And that really helped me focus and get rid of all those icky feelings I was having.
Yeah, we went through the checklist to figure out if Christy was really having some serious problems where she probably should quit, but she wasn't. She was just sore and achy like you normally would, tired, of course, from not training enough, but otherwise okay. You weren't having any sharp pains or dizzy or blurry
No.
vision or anything like that.
No. And I wasn't, here you were running in little shorts and a little tank top. And like you had said, I was in tights and a long sleeve shirt and a running, a pack. And I was not hot. I was comfortable.
Oh, good.
I'm usually a cold runner.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said, can we cut your sleeves off? I'm like, with what? My teeth?
Yeah, chew off your. Like you said, you had a vision of being the Incredible Hulk, or ripping
Right.
off all your hot clothes.
Right. Right. Yeah. But it was such a great, great experience. When you get to that point in the race where you feel like you just can't do it, and then you overpower that. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, because you set out to do something. And as long as I didn't have those real serious aches and pains of some sort of injury, I knew I
Mm-hmm.
had it in me and I knew I could do it.
What did you do with your medal?
What did I do? I have a place where I hang all my medals in my hallway of my home. I'm adding to my collection because if you collect, I
Yeah.
don't know how many years, 5 years worth, they all join together for the Eau Claire Marathon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed it was
Yeah,
magnetic.
yeah, yeah. And I've ran several halves,
Yeah. What
several.
are what are your stats?
My fastest half is 2:04.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise I'm usually like 2:30, 2:20. I've probably ran about 25 half marathons and several 5Ks and 10Ks. And
Mm-hmm.
running is just, running is my medicine. I really enjoy it.
Were you running essentially your whole life?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. When I was in sixth grade, I was in the Junior Olympics. I was on the cross country team.
Wow.
So I really enjoyed it even at a young age. But then
Mm-hmm.
life happens, you get married and then you kind of put things to the back burner that you really enjoy and maybe you put it back behind you for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my late 20s is when I started back up again.
Yeah, because you had a couple kids, got
Hmm.
married.
Yep. So I remember when I decided that I wanted to start running again. I wanted to know what that runner's high was. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember asking a girl I worked with who I knew she ran and I knew she loved it. And I wanted that. So I asked her, I said, Nicole, what does it feel like when you have that runner's high? I want to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And she shared. And that's where it kind of all started and began and started picking up my miles and my races and my passion for running.
So, what pushed you to go farther than the half?
Last fall, I did the Fall 50 in Door County.
Is that a 50K or what is that?
It's a 50-mile race, and I cut it in half with a girlfriend of mine.
Okay.
So the first, every other leg we would switch, and there's 9 different legs. So basically,
Okay.
you'd run a 10K and then sit in a car for an hour and
Okay.
then hop out and go run another 10K, and a lot of it was road race, a lot of it was trail, a lot of hills. But I was able to accomplish that. And I'm like, if I can do that with all those breaks in between, it's time for me to do a full marathon before my body doesn't allow me to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did a much longer run, even though you had a lot more time to do it and you had a lot of breaks,
Hmm.
and you were able to finish it and feel good.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't feel good. Actually,
Oh,
after after the fall 50, I do recall crying in the laying backwards in the car because my body was so ungodly sore.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
crying and so sorry. Eventually, though, you kind of forget. You signed up
Oh,
again. I mean,
oh
obviously.
yeah. Absolutely. It's just like giving childbirth. You do it once and it's the worst thing in the world and you're like, "Okay, bring it on. Let's do it again."
I think it is the harder that something is, then once you accomplish it, the
Hmm.
prouder you are of yourself, or that it builds up your confidence so much more that you know
Hmm.
you can do it again.
100%. You nailed it. Yep.
You need to do something maybe a little harder even to keep challenging yourself.
Hmm.
Your story has many ups and downs. You had been this active person before, really outdoorsy. Running was your passion. And then you started drinking at age 50. I mean, that is not a young woman's problem. I mean, you're a woman who had already built a whole life, a whole identity, a whole community around being a healthy, active person, with a career, a marriage, kids, even your grandkids.
Hmm.
And by this time, you know what kind of person you are without alcohol, but something still wasn't right in your life. Something was missing. I don't know. But you became kind of a different person with the booze, and
Hmm.
your life went to heck.
It
And
did.
I was wondering, as you were drinking, like, how, were you mourning a life you had left behind? Were you feeling like what was going on to get succumbed so late? And I know alcoholism can happen at any age. It's not just a young person's disease. Do you mind sharing?
No, not at all. It's part of the healing process. I'm finding I like to share my story because I think it's really a really good thing to do for somebody who has experienced something like I've experienced. So how it all began, we're all adults and, the drinking of the wine and going out with your girlfriends, just drinking casually, that's how it started. And I was currently working for, I had a job that I had worked at for 16 years, and the last 5 years of that career was
Mm-hmm.
very, very stressful and a lot of hours, and just the core values there did not align with mine whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like 30 individuals below me, underneath me that I worked with, and just to experience, their pain and their dread to come to work. And I was
No.
experiencing that myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point where it was affecting my health. I started to drink more and I wasn't hiding it at that point, but I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that I really started to enjoy drinking.
Yeah.
And it got
Who
to the point,
doesn't, right?
right? You love that. You love
It's-
that wonderful feeling of being buzzed and just forgetting about everything, right?
yeah, yeah. When you start out, it's all great.
Right. But things started to change. I decided that it was time to change. So my husband and I discussed that it was time for me to turn in my notice. And that's exactly what I did. I did not have a job to replace the one I was leaving. However, my husband had a pretty decent job and we could afford to do that. So that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I had interviews after interviews and they all went really good and oh, you're too qualified or this wouldn't be a good fit for you, blah, blah, blah. And that was very, very stressful at the age of what was it was prior to being 50 actually.
Yeah, late 40s.
So late 40s. So it was very, very stressful. And I started drinking more and more and more. And I continued to run during this time. However,
Mm-hmm.
my running started to get a little bit more challenging, harder for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of put it on the back burner here and there. And I remember running with some of my girlfriends, and I'd always be in the back of the pack, and they'd be like, "Come on, Christy, go, girl, go." And I'm like saying naughty words in my mind to them, saying, "Stop," But
Yeah.
anyway, it just got harder and harder. And there was one night when one of my girlfriends and I were running, and I started, and this has happened to me before, but it was just a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting really tingly and cold, and it was a hotter evening, and I could feel my heart being in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked down at my watch, and my heart rate was like 198, and I'm like, "Girl,
Wow.
I gotta walk." So I did, and
Wow.
I kind of beat myself up over that because I've always had that mindset, like I'm tough, I'm strong, I can keep going. But the thing is my body wouldn't allow me to keep going.
Yeah, and a normal heart rate out there for you out there. So you were at 198 and kind of a good pace is maybe around 150 if you're
Yeah,
casually walking, and maybe you're at around 100, 80 to 130 or something. But
right.
198, that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
You should have been pumping it. You should have been sprinting at 198.
And I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I had experienced because of the drinking, the weight was coming on and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was dealing with some high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I started, becoming pre-diabetic and all that, all those
Oh,
metabolic dysfunction things that happen when we don't take care of ourselves.
okay.
Well, I had went in for a regular physical and my blood pressure was extremely high. And he's like, we have to send you to the ER. So that's what they did. And
Wow.
I had no clue what was going to happen. I mean, maybe I was
Mm.
having a heart attack. I don't know. But
Wow.
when I was there, they ended up doing a whole bunch of tests, and the doctor came in and he had no bedside manner at all. He's like, "Girl, you're in the place where you need to be. You have a pulmonary embolism. You're lucky you're here. You could have died if you're not here." And I looked at him and
Wow.
that's exactly what I told him. I said, you could have told me that in a little bit different manner. Um, but it was a shock to my system because my husband was in Detroit Lakes because that's where he was working, and that's like a 6 or 7 hour away drive.
Yeah.
And I was alone, and I really didn't know what a pulmonary embolism was or how serious it was. But then my daughter had filled me in and told me, and
Yeah, it's a blood clot in your lungs.
right, yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people know about a blood clot in your brain can cause an aneurysm.
hmm
Same thing. I mean,
yeah.
it could be fatal having a blood clot in your lungs as well.
Yeah. Usually they're caused by, maybe a blood clot in your leg or in your, hip area or something. And that breaks away and goes into your lungs. And I never had that, but I did have, they think my blood clot started in my shoulder actually, and then went to my lungs.
Hmm.
So during that process of just absorbing all of that in, I was in the hospital, of course, and put on blood thinners, and all my medication was monitored and such, and strict orders of, just take it easy. You can't do this. You don't start running again. Don't do this because once you have a blood clot, you're on blood thinners. They didn't go in and remove it. It just kind of evaporates and disappears.
Hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So coming home, it was like, okay, I want to be the active Christy I've always been, and I couldn't be that person.
Uh-huh.
And without being able to be that person, that tough girl that could, go and run, an 8-minute mile or a 10-minute mile because my
Hmm.
body wouldn't allow me, that really hit me hard. And that's when I really started
Hmm.
drinking more.
Uh-huh.
I did not feel like myself and I was sad. And, I didn't understand the process and I wasn't willing to understand the process of your body healing
Hmm.
through something so traumatic. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, the drinking just, it grew and grew and grew, and it became so powerful for me. Like, I'd wake up thinking about, oh man, I can't wait till I get home from work. Because at this time I had found a new job, which I loved dearly. And it was like, that's all I thought of was the alcohol, because that
Mm.
alcohol numbed so much pain and anguish that I had because I couldn't be myself. And it brought back a lot of memories of, my younger years as well.
Hmm.
And some of my close friends would notice, well, aren't you going to go run tonight, Christy? Aren't you going to go do this? No, I got other things to do. Or, I'd always make excuses not to
Hmm.
be around people. And my close people that knew me knew something was up. And they would ask me questions like, oh, you're drinking again. And I'm like, yeah, I just had a glass. However, that glass was not just a glass. It was like the biggest bottle of wine that you can find, plus another half, and
Uh-huh.
maybe whatever I could find in the house that my husband wouldn't notice that was disappearing, basically.
Hmm. Yeah, you said then you started hiding all the bottles so he wouldn't know how
Yeah.
much you were drinking.
Right. I would hide it behind him. I'd have glasses of wine hid behind picture frames, behind, up on top of the fridge, behind something, behind the toaster. And I would just go on with life, like even if I had company, but I'd run into the house and get a swig here, get a swig there. I didn't think anybody knew, but the closer people did kind of know, but I don't think they knew the volume.
Hmm. Were you carrying around a flask?
No, no.
Hmm.
Well, no, but if I were to be anywhere where those little tiny bottles were, I'd be the first one to buy one up.
Uh-huh.
And I would never drink and drive or anything like that. It was
Yeah.
always at home or if I was somewhere safe, you know.
It sounds like maybe you were mourning your past life. Like you had been really active and had been able to do these things. And
Hmm.
now all of a sudden you're like, well, who am I? A little bit lost.
Yeah,
What happened to that person? Are you ever going to get that person back?
that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah. And you said it also brought up other things from growing up too. I don't know if you want to
Hmm.
be more
Yeah.
specific than that.
I've always had a hard issue with trusting individuals.
Hmm.
At a very young age, my biological mom, I look at it this way now. She wasn't meant to be a mom. And,
Hmm.
you know, I'm gonna say this out of the kindness of my heart. I'm okay with that because
Yeah.
everybody is their own individual. But as I grew up, I did not understand that.
Hmm.
And that was really, really hard for me because I felt like nobody wanted me.
You said she left the family. She
Yeah,
just,
she was just not
oh,
a fit, good mom by a mother. And that was very, very, very hard to accept because as a young child, you always are wondering what's wrong with you. There's something wrong with me.
yeah.
And
Yeah. You feel the rejection, even if you don't understand what that is at the time.
oh, 100%, 100%.
How was your dad? Did you turn to anyone else?
Yeah, I turned to my dad. I always said growing up, my dad was always like my mom and dad all in one. He
Hmm.
was, a wonderful father, which, I look up to him so much. But, I remember the stories of him saying, I had mentioned to you earlier about my Auntie Lane.
Yeah. Your hero.
Yes, she was. And my dad would bring myself over there to her house, and I'd have my little dresses on backwards. And Auntie Lane would always chuckle and tell me the little stories of, how dad was trying to be the best dad he could be.
Uh-huh. Was
But
she your dad's sister?
yep, yeah,
Okay. Did you have other brothers and sisters or just you?
yeah, I have a whole bunch.
Oh,
Yeah, I have
okay.
two biological, a brother and a sister, and then four half siblings. So
Hmm.
there was a lot of moving parts in my younger years.
Hmm.
But back to my Auntie Lane, I grew up on a little cattle farm out in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, okay?
Hmm.
And back in the day, of course, the biggest highlight of the year was maybe going to McDonald's, okay?
Yeah, oh
We
yeah.
never we never left the farm, and if we did, it was just to school or, to the little rinky-dinky grocery store or maybe Girl Scout camp in the summer. But I would always go to the cities and spend the whole summer with my Auntie Lane and my cousins, starting
Oh,
at the age of 6 all the way up to probably 17 and 18. And
fun.
that was absolutely amazing because I got to see two different worlds.
Hmm.
She lived in a little town, Little Canada,
Oh yeah.
and
That's part of the Twin Cities metro
yeah,
area of Minneapolis and St. Paul.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so I got to experience and be around that atmosphere for that time frame throughout my life. And she taught
Mhm.
me so many things about, how to be kind to others. And, she believed in everything I did. And she always called me Chrissy. Oh, Chrissy, and
Uh-huh.
she was just a wonderful, wonderful mentor in my life. I think of her daily.
Is she still with us?
No, she passed like 4 years ago. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
she's no longer with us, but she is, she's always in my heart.
So that was probably hard for you too when you were drinking.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'm sorry to
Um,
hear that.
yeah.
I'm intrigued by this Junior Olympics as well. Did she encourage you in that?
Oh, she encouraged me in everything I did. Everything. She was always my biggest cheerleader.
Hmm.
She really helped me believe that I could do anything.
I think that
You know,
sometimes all we need is just one person to say, you
yep,
can do it. And she was that one for you.
she definitely was. Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
And yeah. So after the pulmonary embolism, that wasn't a big enough wake up call for me. I kept drinking and I kept lying and I
Wow.
kept lying to because I was not in a good mental state at all.
Mm-hmm.
And when my husband found all those bottles hidden in boots and jackets in shelves down in the basement or wherever, because I couldn't throw them all in the garbage or in the recycle, he would see them. So it
Mm-hmm.
would be like randomly I would get rid of them. But when he
Mm-hmm.
found that, that was the turning point for me because I saw how bad he felt the fact that I was hiding that from him for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Not the fact that, I was just drinking, but it wasn't just drinking. It was
Yeah.
drinking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew, but it was almost like a realization that, okay, this is the time to be honest with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we did. And we cried. And
Mm-hmm.
he told me flat out, and I didn't want to hear it. And maybe a couple other individuals told me, he goes, Christy, you have a problem. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I don't. Yes,
Uh-huh.
you do. And he went through all the things, that Christy, look at all the things you used to do and you don't do them. All you want to do is drink.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's like, your health, we're in the ER how often? Like once or twice a month because your blood pressure is so high and this and that. You're
Wow.
not taking care of yourself. You almost died with this pulmonary. You need to wake, basically. And this is what I love about my husband. I
Mm-hmm.
love him to death. He's so honest and brutal, not brutal, so
Mm-hmm.
honest and blunt to me. He says what I need to hear sometimes. And he's like, you need to stop. It's going to kill you.
Oh my. So your husband tells you like it is, but the
Hmm.
the ER doctor tells you and you go, "Oh, you need a better bedside manner."
Yeah. 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 But I respect my husband so much. I mean, not that I
Yeah.
don't respect healthcare or whatever, but my husband, when I saw how bad he
Mm-hmm.
was hurt that I hid that from him, I
Yeah.
knew, and I didn't do it. My main cause wasn't for him, it was for me because I needed to give myself that chance to come back. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And
So he went through all those symptoms with you, all those signs that it
yeah.
wasn't okay. You were hiding from him. You were turning into a different person, this
Hmm.
secret drinker. And finally something inside you said, I don't need this anymore. I mean, that's a profound moment of self-knowledge. What did that feel like? Did that scare you a little bit to
Oh my
change?
gosh, it scared me so much because
Oh,
I didn't think I had a problem.
uh-huh.
And it took me a while to accept the fact that it was truly a problem,
Mm-hmm.
because of how much it consumed me and how much it changed me. It
Uh-huh.
it changed me mentally and physically to the
Mm-hmm.
point where I was unrecognizable.
Wow.
And
Yeah, because you said you also gained 78 pounds. I mean, that
yeah,
alone is a big.
78 pounds. Yeah. And once I stopped drinking, they always say, "Oh, you're going to lose so much weight when you stop drinking." Yeah, right. I probably well, I lost probably 35 pounds, but it didn't happen overnight. It took like
No.
a year and a half. It took a while.
Mm-hmm.
And things started changing. And I told my husband, when I want to drink, I'm going to come to you and you're going to help me through it. And that's exactly what I did over and over again. And we
Mm-hmm.
talked it through and we talked about, everything is based on a choice, basically. You gotta, I always say, one of my favorite sayings is suck it up, buttercup. You gotta do this.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did, and we did it together. And now I'm 3.5 years sober. I feel fantastic.
Yay.
Yeah. And it took me a while to realize that, yes, Christy, you had a problem. And, to call yourself an alcoholic
Mm-hmm.
is the hardest thing in the world, but being able to accept it is awesome because I know myself. I know that I'm not the typical person that can go out to dinner and have a glass of wine. I can't
Mm-hmm.
even tempt myself by trying it because I'd want to continue doing that and it would grow and grow and grow.
Okay. So
Hmm.
no booze at all. No booze for you
None,
anymore. Just
none.
way too tempting that pull of alcoholism. So you said your husband was your support line. Did you reach out to anyone else, the community, AA or anything?
No, I
Okay.
didn't. I did it cold turkey and it was harder
Wow.
than, oh my gosh, it was so, so, so hard. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I looked back at what I've been through in my life and I knew I could get through it. And that's exactly what I did. I just took it day by day.
Mm-hmm.
And as those days went on, I celebrated every day. I'd have a calendar, with how many days
Mm-hmm.
I was sober. I'd have that in my office actually.
What is your anniversary date? Do you do anything special?
It's around my birthday in December.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I shouted out to the world to let everybody know, you bet, baby, I'm gonna be 4 years sober and I feel great. And yeah, yeah,
I'm back. I made
yes,
it.
I'm back.
I got out of this mess.
Yes. And by making that choice to be done with it has helped me so much because there's things in life where you have to make those types of choices
Mm-hmm.
and you either you know I don't know, you either dwell on it and think of the icky things, the negative, or you think of the positive and what could be, and that's exactly my mindset.
You said you always look ahead instead of backwards.
Yes. Yes, 110%. I never look backwards. Not now. No way. If I do look backwards, it's like, look at what I've went through and look how far I've come. What else can I do? You
Look
know?
how far I've come. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to be able to have people tell me that you'll never be able to run again because you're just not healthy. Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to be where I am at today, I'm at my goal weight. I feel wonderful. I have my confidence back, my energy. I love doing things I enjoy doing again. I love the running. I love
Mm-hmm.
going out in the boat with the hubby, catching those big, big fish,
Uh-huh.
and just being outdoors. And I cherish every single day that God gives me, every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, you sound confident and very strong.
Hmm. Yeah, but I didn't look very strong during the marathon. But I knew that I had it in me and I could do it. And it
Uh-huh.
was a wake up call for me to, you got to train harder, girl. If you want to be,
Yeah.
you know, if you want to break that. And I am competitive, Sally. I hate to
Mm.
say it.
Uh-huh.
I was hoping to be at 4 hours and 2 hours later, no, that ain't happening. But
Wow.
I do know that as long as I train, I know what I'm capable of, and I would love to hit that 4:30 mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you finished in 6:12. So you're like
Mm-hmm.
an hour and a half behind that. But hey, that's okay. You've
Mm-hmm.
finished,
Mm-hmm.
ready to go again after you buy some bigger shoes.
Yes.
Yep. So addressing one of your issues is your toes were hurting,
Oh, they
and it
were.
sounds like your shoes are too small.
Well, they seem to fit just fine, but apparently you have to go up a whole size ahead when you
That's
run
what
one
I've
like
always heard
that.
that, and that's what
Yeah.
I do. I typically wear a size 7, 7.5, and my running shoes are a size 8. So your feet
Hmm.
swell up while you're running. So yeah,
Yeah.
get a pair of bigger shoes and then use your smaller shoes for other activities.
Yes. Definitely will be doing that. 110%.
Yep. And then also we suggested you up, cut some slits in your shoes too. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I find that my big toe still will hit the top of my shoe. So if I just cut a little slit where my toenail is, it gives me a little bit extra room. Helps my toes.
So you're telling me when you run all your marathons, you have the holes in your shoes all the
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I started cutting the shoes about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
my toenails are getting a little bit more sensitive. they're,
Mm-hmm.
they're not so happy with me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
especially I have this pair of trail shoes that are a lot more solid. And so I ended up losing my big toe twice wearing those trail shoes. I was so bummed because I really like them. And so then I started making adjustments by
Okay.
cutting the hole. And hey, that solved the problem.
Well, that's good to know. And like I told you, I was wondering, well, do you carry a little scissors in your pocket while you're running?
No, and speaking of scissors, I have cut off my sleeves and my shorts and my socks at during other races too, but I
Oh,
always go to the aid
wow.
station and
Uh-huh.
ask them. But I can give a shout out to a lady at the Manchester Marathon who was just sitting on her porch doing something. She went in the house and got me a scissors so I could cut off these leg warmers I had.
Oh, wow.
Those were getting pretty hot. I wasn't going to take my shoes off, and she
Uh-huh.
it's such a random thing to do during a race. Hey, give me a scissors so I can cut off my leg warmers.
Funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I had another race too where I cut the sleeves off. Oh, that was great. Felt so good.
Mm-hmm. Pouring water on your head and stuff helps, you
Hmm.
know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You completed that goal. Started small, one foot in front of the
Mm-hmm.
other. You used your support system. Now that it's been a week to settle in, oh, what do you think now about your big accomplishment?
I think it's freaking amazing.
I mean, that's creating a moment for yourself that will last forever.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
And yeah, yeah. It's absolutely. And I always thought half marathons were hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited to run the half in August in Chippewa Falls. It's called the Pure Water Days.
Okay.
And I always thought that was so hard. It's going to be cake. And, my goal is to break 2 hours. And
Wow.
as long as I train, I really think I can do it.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. I just have to continue to be dedicated and
Mm-hmm.
but most importantly, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And as I age, I'm starting to enjoy just being out in nature and just hearing my feet hit the ground, hearing the birds, and just enjoying every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so powerful.
Yeah. You can just look into that mirror to see everything that sobriety and this running community have given you that,
Hmm.
drinking would never be able to do that for you.
No, and another thing, and I'm open to share this, and my drinking was I wanted both best of both worlds. So
Mm.
there would be several times that I'd be down running on my treadmill and I'd have a glass of wine right next to me
Oh,
while I was running. And there was a time where I flew off the treadmill and I
wow.
had bruises all over my shoulder and my back. And I lied to people what happened because there's no way I was going to tell anybody. But now I'm okay to share that story because I want people to know that they're not alone, that if they feel like they are, reach out to somebody who's went through something like that, or find that support system where they are there to support you and listen to you and
Mm-hmm.
maybe give you that hope that you can get through this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Wow. So you were drinking on the treadmill.
yeah. Because I wanted to run, I wanted to drink, I wanted to do it all. And
That.
it wasn't very safe. And, I've shared that with my husband and with some of my family, and they're like, girl, you could have landed on your head. And of course, all those horrible things could have happened, but they didn't. And I just can't believe that I let myself go down that icky rabbit hole of feeling that way.
Wow. You're a badass in a different way. At least you're not a
Mhm.
badass like that anymore.
No, no, no.
Wow.
Now I'm
Oh,
just prissy Chrissy who doesn't drink, but I can actually be myself and feel 100% confident. I can go to the bar and have the best time of my life and watch everybody else be goofy, and I can be goofy just like me, and I'm proud of it.
you're just fine. You don't need that anymore. Something inside
No,
you said, I don't need this.
no, no more.
So, what do you think drives you to keep going? I mean, like, how did you persevere or cope with this? I mean, if you're running on the treadmill while drinking, wow, how
Mhm.
are you resilient?
Well, I can honestly say that I wasn't afraid to change no matter how hard it was.
Hmm.
I knew I had to change and I knew it was going to be hard, but I did it anyway. I had to figure out why I wanted to change.
Hmm.
And my why was, as corny as it is, I wanted to be healthy and fit, inspire others. Even
Yeah.
when I was the most unhealthy, okay? That has
Uh-huh.
always been my dream, probably even since I was a little girl.
Hmm.
I love helping others feel good about themselves again. Like
Mhm.
Since I was stuck, I want to help others to know that they're not stuck. They don't have to settle.
Mhm.
I chose not to settle at being that alcoholic, that 205-pound unhealthy woman. I could
Mhm.
have, but I chose
Yeah.
not to. And how did I do that? I started asking myself, why? Why am I doing this? And I figured a lot of those questions out and I faced them head on.
Mhm.
I started journaling. And as corny as this sounds, I'm a firm believer on the power of the pencil. You have a
Uh-huh.
thought, write
Yeah.
it down. If you're one thing I do every single day now is I'm full of gratitude. Every
Mhm.
morning I write down what I'm grateful for. I don't care what it is. I write
Yeah.
something down and reflect on that. I also
Mhm.
try to surround myself with positive people, people that
Mhm.
have that same energy I do.
Mhm.
I think that helps me stay in the game with that positive energy.
Yeah.
And one of the other things is that I always struggled with is I always worried about what other people thought of me
Yeah.
because I'm very outspoken, very passionate about things. And
Mhm.
we've all heard of the red flag stories. I've learned to not listen to that itty bitty shitty committee that tells me that I
I love
am,
it.
I'm not worthy of this or not worthy of that. I am
Uh-huh.
worthy. And so
Yeah.
I want to remind myself that. And I do that each and every day. And you just have to
Yeah.
believe, you have to believe that there's something
Mhm.
better out there.
Yeah.
It's not going to come to you. You got to go get it.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Another thing, it's okay to be vulnerable. I can't say that word, forgive me.
Yep.
But by being, that's just being true to who you are. And it's part of the healing process.
Mhm.
And there's so many people out there that that's what they choose, but they keep everything bottled up inside. I would love to help other individuals, be able to get out of that slump. And it's okay to share your feelings because
Mhm.
that's how you heal.
Yeah, I know for me, I always keep things secret, bottle up things that bother me or are really
Hmm.
painful because some of them are just too hard to face. As I've gotten older, I've started getting more open with that, started
Hmm.
this podcast. Oh my God.
Yes, look at you.
Oh, I like this. Your concept of the itty bitty shitty committee. I love that.
Yeah. I tell my clients that a lot because so many people just don't believe in themselves. Like they're so scared of failure.
Yeah.
And that it's like, the little devil on your shoulder telling you can't do something. Don't
Hmm.
listen to it. Do not allow that little guy in.
Yeah. Yeah. Think of all the times where you succeeded, even if
Hmm.
it's the smallest things or a time when you stood up for yourself or
Hmm.
wouldn't get pushed around or that you accomplished something that you didn't think was possible no matter how small it is.
Hmm.
You did it.
And
Mhm.
it's okay. It's okay to say no to something that you don't agree with.
Mhm.
And it's okay to move forward and think outside the box and take that risk if it's going to challenge you
Mhm.
and make you stronger.
Yeah. Wow. So, Christy, you said even while you were drinking, you always wanted to help people and be the best version of yourself that you can. And then once you stopped drinking, you were able to realize that dream by becoming a health coach. I mean, that sounds awesome. How did you become a health coach? Do you have a certification?
I do. And when you ask, how did I become a health coach? Well, I started out as a client. How this all came about was I had a friend that our relationship was starting to grow and our trust was growing with one another. And when I first met her, she was sad and overweight. And I'm a listener. I love to listen to people's stories. And over time, I watched her transform. I watched her transform not only physically, but mentally. She had started losing weight, and
Mhm.
the way she communicated with me was so different. Her confidence changed. And I watched her for about a year, and I'm like, girl, okay, what are you doing? What are these
What?
feelings?
Tell me the
What
secret.
Tell me the secret exactly. I'm like, okay, I'm stuck. I need something to give me that excitement back.
Hmm.
So I asked her a few questions and she's like, sure, I would love to share what I'm doing. And that's exactly what she did. And at that point in my life, I was very unhealthy and I was probably 50 pounds overweight and I
Hmm.
was stuck. I needed something. I needed something to give me that spark back.
Hmm.
So I decided to try her program, and I did exactly that. And I followed the program 110%, and I trusted the process. And as the weeks went by, I started feeling, within my first week, I started feeling good again. I
Hmm.
started sleeping better. I felt energized, like I sound like right now, and I was not
Yep.
always energized like this.
Yeah.
And it's an investment. When you start a program, a weight loss program, it is an investment, but you have to ask yourself, am I worth it? And at this point in my life, I was truly worth it. And I trusted the process.
So you went through a weight loss program,
Yes,
and then from there you became a health coach for people losing weight. Is that right?
right. But
Helping them with their weight loss journey.
the funny thing about it is, I was on program for 2 weeks and I decided I wanted to be a health coach. I
Oh,
wanted to help others feel as good as I did.
which program were you on?
Optavia.
Optavia?
Yes, it's Optavia. Mamma mia, Optavia. That's
Okay.
one way you'll never forget it.
Yeah, I've not heard of that one before.
Yeah, and it's a great program because it's a structured program that has four components.
Hmm.
When you are a client, you have your coach, you have the Habits of Health transformational system, the Optavia community, and then you get the fuelings and the nutrition. Those are the four components of program. And
Hmm.
basically it's a structured program. When I started out as a client, I eat every 2.5 to 3 hours and then prepare a meal on my own every
Hmm.
day. So I'll give you an example, like a 5-in-1 program. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I would do and make sure I drank my minimum of 64 ounces of water to 100 ounces of water a
Hmm.
day. No vigorous exercise needed at all. And what
Yeah.
happens is your body goes into a mild fat burn state.
Yep.
I was a client, and as I was losing weight, I wanted to share how good I felt. So I wanted to become a coach, not only to share to others, but I needed a way to pay for my box of fuelings when I first
Yeah.
started out.
Yeah.
And what a great way to do that, right?
Hmm.
Plus, if I'm a coach, what a great way to keep me accountable.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be a coach, I gotta make sure I stay where I am and keep moving forward on my journey. And that's exactly what I did.
Hmm.
So it's the best decision I have honestly made besides on top of the, quitting of the drinking. I have changed
Yeah.
my habits so much
Yeah.
and it has helped build my confidence. And that's what I'm really passionate about, helping others. When I say that, I'm helping others that maybe in a time before they start program, they don't believe they can do it. They have this fear of, I've tried so many other different things. This isn't going to work.
Hmm.
Why is this going to work? And what's going to happen when I stop doing this? Well,
Yeah.
I've been in maintenance for 2.5 years and I'm where I am when I hit, basically when I hit my goal weight, and I've kept it off. And I've
Hmm.
kept it off because I've learned the habits that I need to stay healthy.
Hmm.
And that's what I pass on to my clients.
Wow. Yeah, I've been part of a similar program called Livia here in Minnesota. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I've never had a ton of weight to lose, just 10 pounds, just this pesky 10 pounds. And, because I, gained the freshman 15, I started working, I gained the workforce 15, and then just I could see that if I kept this up, I was going to weigh 150 pounds. And I'm only 5 feet tall, so that is just way too much.
Hmm.
And so I started the program just like that,
Hmm.
Livia, and where it's a high protein diet with five five smaller meals a day, and then one, they call it a fresh and lean meal, where you have lean protein and veggies and low carbohydrates, high protein, lots of water during the day. In fact,
Hmm.
I just did a little Google here, and Optavia is part of the MetaFast group, which Livia is part of Medifast as well. So they call their program the Simply Flex plan that I'm on. And so I've been doing it for 5 years. And in fact, they just asked me if I could make some promo videos for them for their website. So it should be coming out here sometime in 2026.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So my little promo is no matter what your fitness routine is, whether it's a Netflix marathon or an actual marathon, Livia has a program for you.
Oh, wonderful. That suits you 110%.
Yep. Yeah. So it's been great because now I know that when my weight goes up a little bit, all I have to do is get back on the plan for a week or two and it will go down. I don't have to panic anymore that, oh my God, my weight's going up. It's going to keep going up. I'm going to hit that 150. I got to do something. So I think for me, if I try and catch it within 5 pounds, I can maintain. And you can't out exercise a bad diet. My
No.
my downfall is Mountain Dew and chocolate chip cookies. Which Mountain Dew helps me out during some of the races. I always like having it, but having it every day is probably not the best thing for my health. So
no, definitely not.
Limit myself.
But you need those extra carbs and extra sugar while you run.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've become really quite expert at food and nutrition and balancing your exercise with what you're doing.
And I love every minute of it. It's so fun. It's so rewarding.
What do you think you've learned from your clients?
Oh, what have I learned from my clients? Empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy because I really think God put me in the fat body that he gave me a few years back to let me experience what it was like to be heavy.
Oh.
Because I was always skinny throughout my whole entire life. And, I was so obsessed with the scale, even when I was skinny.
Yeah.
And I was, of course, obsessed with the scale when I was heavy, but it wasn't the same obsession. It was a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
So what I like to see is an individual learn that it's not all about the scale.
Yeah.
It's about how you feel, and it's about all those metabolic numbers. It's about your visceral fat and your body fat percentage and, all those things that really, really help with your stats and your health and your longevity.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Mine, the number on the scale is not the only number I look at. Like a pound of fat is like 5 miles of circulation that your heart and lungs have to compensate for. A pound of fat is 4 pounds of pressure, extra pressure on your knees. And over the course of a marathon, that's 175,000 pounds.
That is nuts when you look at it that way.
I know. Just one pound.
And, the other thing is just seeing somebody change and blossom from being that negative Nelly and not believing in themselves.
The itty bitty shitty committee.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying that.
You're right. The itty bitty shitty committee. So, just watching somebody transform and knowing that I've been part of that is everything. Everything.
Yeah.
And, that's why I share my story. I want to help others realize that, there is, like I said before, there is hope. And you just have to believe and you have to take those first steps.
Yeah. I think that's key. And helping others helps yourself. Because even when we were chatting during the marathon, I was feeling a little down too. I just needed that race to rebuild my confidence. And that part of the Eau Claire Marathon, mile 17, is just open, exposed, bright sunshine on the bike trail. And I was like, gosh, I was dreading that part. And so it was nice to have somebody to talk to remind me of all the things that I tell myself too. Just keep going. Don't stop.
And you helped me so, so much. I don't think I would have finished that race without you or Pacer Liz. Seriously.
Really?
Because, yes. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I was sensing when I got up to you.
Well, the funny thing is, both of you said, "Can I give you a tip? Can you raise your shoulders back and stand tall?"
We told you the same thing.
You both did. And it's like, then I saw my pictures totally hunched over. And it's like, now when I go on a run, since the marathon, I've only went on 2, I think of that. I think of you saying, stop, put your shoulders back, put your hands up, reach up to the sky and don't look down at the ground when you move. That's what
Yeah.
you and Liz both would say. And I am going to be focusing on that during every single run I do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you're hunching over and you just can't get that fuel. The fuel oxygen is also fuel for us. It literally fans the flames of the fire. And it's the same thing that our body literally burns that fat using oxygen. So the more you breathe, the more efficient your body works.
Mm-hmm.
You said it's all about that metabolism. I do, by the way, have a degree in biochemistry. So I know.
Where have you been all my life when I have all these weird questions about
just across the border here in Minnesota? I haven't gone that far in life, which is always funny to me. I'm still within like 30 miles of where I grew up. I always thought I would, end up farther away or something, or, I want to go. But hey, every time I thought about moving, I got a better opportunity here in good old Minnesota. So I stayed.
Yeah.
And then I got married and found some love again.
Yes.
And you did too.
You have been, how long have you been married? You got married later in life.
Yeah, we've been married 8 years.
Nice.
I got married at age 47. So we have an anniversary coming up pretty soon. Woohoo.
Happy
in a month.
Early anniversary.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. So you said your husband is your husband number 2. Do you mind talking about that?
Husband number 2?
Husband number 2?
Yeah.
Best man ever?
Yeah.
So at the race, I was afraid that you were going to ask him to take you home.
Oh, no. Didn't even cross my mind.
When I walked up to you, I just knew you wanted to quit. And then you said, "There's your husband." I'm like, he can't take her home. He can't let her quit.
Yeah.
So he seems like a gem the way you talked about him.
Yeah. No, in fact, having him there show up when I didn't expect him at that mile marker. Mm-hmm. Did you see him 2 times or just the one time?
I only noticed him the one time.
Okay. So he showed up prior to that as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that right there made me want to keep going.
Oh.
Just because I wasn't expecting him at that mile marker, and he could tell I was tired at that point, but he's like, "You got this, you can do this." And one of my girlfriends had met me at that point as well. Mm-hmm. And then when you saw him, that's after I told him I didn't think I could finish.
Yeah.
And then I actually had him hold me up so I could lift my legs off the ground for a little while.
Uh-huh.
Because I was done. But not really. I had some left in me.
Yeah.
And just having him there just made me want to just keep going, and he was supporting me. Now, if you ask him if I'm going to run the fall 50, the whole 50, he's like, "You're not doing it." He goes, I've seen how crippled you are up from this full marathon. I'm like, "Honey, I didn't train like I should have." And he's like, "Still." He goes, "You can do as many half or full marathons as you want, but 50 miles is ridiculous. Why would anybody want to do 50 miles?"
Because it's awesome. That's why. Okay, he's not yet one of us.
Right. No.
He's speaking the words of a sane person.
Exactly. So many people just do not understand it. And it's not,
they don't.
It's the challenge, and it's the self-satisfaction when you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something more to it than 50 miles is a long way for sure, but people do it all the time.
Have you done it?
No, I've done a 50K, which is 31 miles. That's the longest I've done. I think I will probably have a 50 or 100 miler in my future, but I'm not working on that right now. I mean, because I know so many people have done it and they sound so fun, like Charlotte Courier and Christelle Douillet, who have been on the podcast, talk about it, and it's just a totally different vibe. A 50 miler, 100 miler is a totally different strategy than a marathon. So, when you get into those longer distances, you're changing your shoes, you're replacing your socks, you're doing blister care, you're sitting down and maybe taking a nap for 20 minutes or 2 hours during the event. Mm-hmm. You might have a crew there. You've got different food on the course. Usually it's just about eating a quesadilla and walking around in the woods. I mean, and how fun is that?
Right. And, I think another different aspect to look at it is it's not based on time. It's based on time on feet, right? Right?
No, there's a clock time. There's a clock time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe what you should do is bring your husband out has he cheered on a 50K? Has he been a crew member?
No,
Because then he can
no.
see all the people that do it. And you had shared with me that he has some mobility issues. And so for him, he's not a runner. He probably
Right.
wouldn't do any extreme events.
No.
You said walking is okay for him, but not too much more. Yeah.
No.
So he just hasn't experienced the craziness. Yeah. Because my husband, he won't run either. He's got bad feet and he loves to bike and he'll go with me to events, but he's not going to be running anything. He likes to say he wouldn't run for the door if there was a fire. So, yeah, I would encourage you. If you feel like you got a 50 miler in you, then do it. But definitely train. You certainly have to run more than 10 miles. I mean,
Yeah.
I generally say you've got to run at least 16 miles before you run a marathon, and you should be trained a lot more than that. But it's just the gradual increase in miles. You can do it, and a lot of 50 milers are run through the woods. They might be trail runs up and down. There's some that are run on the rail trails. How is the one in Door County? Is that totally a trail run?
No, it's all road and partially trail.
Okay.
But it's in the fall with the bright, wonderful color of leaves, and it's so absolutely beautiful.
Oh, for those of you who don't know Door County, Wisconsin, if you look at the map of Wisconsin, it's the little peninsula on the right side of Wisconsin that goes out into Lake Michigan.
Yeah. It's just beautiful.
And it's
absolutely.
Apple country cherries. Door County cherries are a big thing. Right?
Yeah. And they make great wine there too, but I just don't drink it anymore. But that was a great experience.
You can have the cherry lemonade instead.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Okay. So we got to get your cheerleader on board to at least open his mind to the concept that it's possible you could run a 50 miler. Or a 50K. So he's worried about you. He doesn't want you to damage yourself, right? You did this marathon. He sees how much you hurt, and then he doesn't want you to be hurt again. Because if you do this stuff without training, you are going to hurt yourself. Wear out your joints. You're going to be miserable. So build up the training. Do some shorter events. Let him see that you're making progress. Plan your next marathon, and make sure you train for it, so that when he sees you on the course or sees you at the end, that you're doing better. And from now on, when you do a marathon, you're going to say, yeah, I ran that one in Eau Claire. That was a great learning experience. Here's what I did. And I pushed myself through it. Now for the next marathon, I'm going to make sure that I've run at least 16 miles, ideally 20 or 22 as your longest training run, and do that 3 to 4 weeks out before the race. And, so you're building up that mileage. Do the race, have him see you. And then you can compare how you felt with these longer runs versus the Eau Claire marathon. So now you have a base for comparison with everything that you do. And then you can see your happy, smiley face. And then you've already run twice since Eau Claire?
Yeah. I went for a 2-mile run and I could feel it in my hips and my toes. So I went out for 3. So it ended up being 2. Yeah. Because I walked the rest. And then just today on my lunch, I hopped on the treadmill and that was like heaven because it wasn't so hard. It wasn't pavement and it felt good.
Oh, yeah. I ran 5 miles on Saturday. So the race was on a Sunday and then I ran the following Saturday, 5 miles.
How'd you feel?
Fantastic, man.
Wonderful.
Because my original plan was I was going to run Eau Claire and then Sunday I was going to run the Lake Wobegon Trail up by St. Cloud.
Oh.
But I had already signed up for that before. I'd signed up for the Pineland. I'd signed up for Lake Wobegon, some of these other races before I did my DNF for Pineline. And I got sick. And so I'm like, well, now Eau Claire and Lake Wobegon are a week apart. Do I dare do that? And if I'm feeling good, I know I can do that just fine. But because I had that DNF, I just said, I really want a little bit more time. So I did a DNS, did not start for the Lake Wobegon. Yeah. And I ran outside for 5 miles instead. And I'm signed up to do Carmel, Indiana next weekend. So I got
awesome.
Yeah. So a bunch of my great friend Christine is going out there. And Allie Bretnacher, who's a podcaster, is out there. And Sean Comerford, who is on my podcast, who lost all this 200 pounds. Oh. She's out there. And Garrett Davidson, who is one of my inspirations to starting the podcast. I have a tip dedicated to him early on. He's in Indiana. So it's just going to be a fun little party. And I'm going to run Carmel because it was originally supposed to be in April, but they had some storms that were coming through. And so they rescheduled it to May 31st.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Look at you. You're just a little go-getter. I love
Yeah,
it.
thanks. Yeah. So well, one of my buddies, Eric, he and his friends are aiming for Twin Cities Marathon 2027, which is October 2027, to be their 200th marathon. And they're the
Oh,
same as I am. They're right around 180. And I'm like, I think I can do that. So I made a schedule.
oh,
How can I get between, I'm now at 181.
oh,
So I can run 19 marathons in a year and a half. And
oh,
I can do it.
oh, you will do it. Awesome. And then we need to have a big old get-together party for you when you hit your 200.
Yeah. So you ask, how does somebody plan? How does somebody get to 181 marathons? Well, oh my God, somebody gives you a challenge.
That is absolutely so awesome.
Yes. So when I'm feeling good, when I'm feeling confident, when I've been trained, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But
Hmm.
there are times when I feel like, oh God, I'm not trained so much. Oh, I feel sick. Oh, I get it. I mean, so
Hmm.
I gotta like remind myself that, yeah, when you're on your game, this is achievable.
Exactly.
And there are times when I'm feeling down, then I got to just, you know, let myself ride it out. Things will get better. And yeah. So, yeah. So I made this schedule where it's possible I could get to like 210 marathons between now and then. And
Oh,
there's a lot
wow.
of races that are within like 3 hours driving distance of my house. So I
Okay.
wouldn't have to spend a ton of money traveling to do it.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I'll keep you
Well,
posted
so
because a lot of them are
yeah,
in your
so
neck
the
of the
next
woods.
marathon I find, I'm definitely going to say, "Hey, Sally, are you running it? So let's hook up."
Oh, I'm running Med City on Sunday. Eau Claire. 2 weeks later, I'm doing Med City this Sunday, and then I'm doing Carmel 2 weeks after that.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Wow.
but now Med City in Rochester, Minnesota
Uh-huh.
said that it's going to be hot this weekend. So if you want to change your registration to a half marathon, you can. I'm like, oh man.
Really? It's supposed to be hot. Like how? I mean, 'cause that's not that far from you and
Yeah,
me.
78. Yeah, Rochester,
Okay.
Minnesota is what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
78, it might be
Wow.
80. And I definitely slow down once it's more than 75. I really slow down. I find that the heat is hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an extra goal on top of your fitness and weight goals is to help your husband see the light. Help
Yeah,
him be the best
I'll prove
cheerleader.
it to him that I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never answered my question.
Oh, what was it?
This question is how does an individual run 182 marathons in their lifetime? How is that possible? Did you start when you were two?
No, I started in 2004. So my first marathon was 2004. So it's been 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, my husband said, I think you have kind of an addictive personality sometime. I'm like, what do you mean? No, I don't. I'm not an addict. He goes, 181 marathons.
Oh my gosh, that's just unbelievable.
Well, for the first 10, 15 years, I only ran a handful every year. And the more I ran, the healthier I feel. And then I thought, I can actually run these more frequently. Then I don't have to train so much. And the more I run, the more it proves to me that I'm healthy. And I think it's because I had this extreme problem. So when I was growing up, I was sick as a kid, and they said, "Oh, you'll be lucky to
Mm-hmm.
make it to age 15. You are going to die." I was really sick. I was
Yeah.
going to die. And they said, "Well, we'll do this cure and see what happens." So boom, a miracle happens, and then they said, "Okay, well, we think you might make it another 20 years. So, if this works, you got 20 years." All right. 20 years go by and I'm not
Oh,
feeling so good. And I go back to the doctor and they go, "Wow, wow, it truly was a miracle. We can't tell there was ever anything wrong with you. Maybe you should get some exercise."
wow.
And so I think it's this equal and opposite reaction where before it was this, wow, you're not going to make it. You just got to live your life, do what you can, to then, thinking that I'm going to die young and all this stuff. And I'm only going to live here. So I've got this plan for my 20-year plan. I made my 20-year plan. And then having this middle life crisis instead of you're going to die, it's like, oh, you're going to live. Now what do I do? Oh, well, I guess I better get in shape. Maybe I should start
Yeah.
exercising. Oh, now this is important to me. Now this matters. Now,
Yeah.
and so then when I run, I think, wow, there's a time I couldn't do this. I wasn't healthy enough to do it. It never crossed my mind as a goal. But then once I started doing it and realizing, hey, I can finish this and I feel good. And most other people don't do it, for whatever reason. Running's not
Yeah.
their thing. And sometimes when I'm in a race and I pass a big burly guy who's like super strong, and I'm like, yeah, I just passed that guy. I'm not going to beat that guy any other way. And I think it is kind of a numbers game. I'm never going to be the
Uh-huh.
fastest runner,
Uh-huh.
but I can run a lot of them and feel good.
Yeah.
And I don't have any real joint problems. I mean, my toenails are not too happy with me, but my joints are still doing just fine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I run one and then I get it on the calendar, and I'm like, well, according to this schedule, I can do this one and this one and this one and this one. And
Oh, that's so awesome. So
yeah,
inspiring.
yeah. I don't know.
So inspiring.
It's inspiring. Thank you. I think it's a tad dysfunctional. Thank you.
No, I think it's so
But it's,
inspiring because it's like I look at you and I look at your positive energy and how
mhm.
you are just like a little gem. You are
Well, thank you.
wonderful. And to see your happiness and to see what the first half of your life, what you experienced, and
Hmm.
knowing or think or believe at a time you believed that, you only had so much time.
Yeah.
And now you're in the total other direction.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's basically a replica of, kind of my story, I was
Hmm.
think it was all icky, 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 and now it's the other direction. And
Hmm.
just to encourage other individuals, no matter what they're struggling with, is, you know, maybe it's not marathons, maybe it's, it could be anything that they enjoy. If
Yeah.
they can get that back, that is
Hmm.
so powerful. And that if that's what it takes to make somebody happy and enjoy life, then they need to
Yeah.
do it. They need to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. That's what makes me vulnerable. I would never talk about it or advertise this particular aspect of my life, until recently.
Hmm.
Now I've set this goal to help raise money for medical
Hmm.
research. Thank you very much. So I've
Hmm.
had to talk about it more. But a lot of people, I had recreated a new life where people didn't know any of this about me as an adult. And so I could move beyond that. And so it
Yeah.
was a kind of self-protective to, like you were saying, it's okay to be vulnerable. But for me, I didn't feel it was okay to be vulnerable for many, many, many years because that part of my life was just simply so painful that I just wanted to move on. Don't think about it
Hmm.
anymore. Move on. It's over. It's time to rebuild your life. And so
Right.
that's what I did. Yeah. And it sounds like
And look,
that's what you're doing too. No looking
right.
back.
And right. And look at how good you feel now that right?
Yeah.
Right? Don't you feel so much better now than you did before?
Yes. Yes. I do feel better. And I'm finding that, of course, there are a lot of people out there that have similar stories. Because,
Hmm.
being this sick kid and then growing up and becoming a teenager and turning into an adult, I took all sorts of risky behaviors. you know, I just want to have a good time. I don't have very much. I
Yeah.
want to go out and party and I'm going to do this and
Hmm.
I'm going to travel the world and I'm going to meet all these people and I'm going to go date and have a good time. And I'm not going to worry about long-term ramifications and I'm not saving any money.
Hmm.
Turns out that's not uncommon for young adults who've had these scary medical experiences, which, I thought I was so special. And now I'm like, oh man, I met this other person who did the same thing. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, and parents worry about their kids. Helicopter moms don't want their kids to go to college. And then when you go to college, you go crazy and
Hmm.
then you have to hide that from your parents.
Right. Right.
But
Oh, so
fortunately,
many things our
yeah.
parents don't know that we did.
Yeah, yeah, I can say that my life now has a happy ending. And for many, many, many years there, it really sucked, but it's finally come around. And it's same for you too. And I guess like you said, that's part of the hope that you just keep moving forward, no matter how bad it is. Make small changes in your life to make it better. And eventually it will get better. And all of a sudden you'll go, oh, I made it through.
And
That
it
wasn't really
wasn't
that hard.
exactly, exactly.
I just had to keep doing those little things.
Hmm.
Well, this episode is not supposed to be about me, but thanks for asking. I appreciate all the encouragement and support myself.
Hmm. You bet.
I'm sorry you went through this with the alcoholism and got sucked into that. I did want to talk about a little public service announcement for that as well with this addiction. And for me, I always knew that I would need my brain to make a living. And so I was never really tempted to, take hard drugs or abuse my brain in that way. I'm afraid that if I did try a lot of that stuff, I'd be immediately hooked.
Hmm.
So from Christy's experience, and you started drinking later in age, that you were hitting it hard and were about to become another death statistic at age 52. Drinking is life threatening, and the more you drink, the sooner you will die. In fact, it's between 10 to 28 years sooner that alcoholism cuts your life by up to 28 years. It's an addiction that can happen to anyone at any age. On the average, men will die around age 50 and women will die around age 55. So, wow.
That's scary.
Yeah. And younger adults can die of it too. Think of Amy Winehouse. She was at 5 times the legal limit of alcoholism when she passed away. And she had everything going for her. I just don't
Right.
understand it.
And that's the crazy thing about it is, never judge a book by its cover. You'll
Yeah.
never know what somebody's going through or what they're doing behind closed doors,
Yeah.
and yeah, don't
You
be
know,
so quick to judge because the people you wouldn't expect to have a problem with alcohol, they just might have that problem.
yeah. What other pain did she have in her life? And
Hmm.
then you cover it up with a little bit of alcohol, and then that snowballs like what happens to you. It happened to you, and that happens so gradually you may not even realize it. Like you said, even at the end when you had this pulmonary embolism, your husband still had to shake you and tell you, "Hey, you have a problem."
Hmm.
And with some of your problems, the most common cause of death of alcoholism, of course, is liver disease, but there are many other side effects that are just as bad. You had this pulmonary embolism. Alcohol destroys your brain, so you can't think straight. Your speech is slurred, so you always sound drunk even when you're not. And it destroys other nerves, so you can't even walk properly. So imagine needing a walker at age 50 just because you drank too much. And of course, it affects your heart and can encourage cancer. So addiction can happen so gradually and you don't really notice it until it's out of control. And for you, you were going down this dark path. So if you find yourself doing some of these things, get help now before you totally mess up your life. So if you start drinking more, if you have to drink more to get the same high, you're building up a tolerance and that's a problem. You got to get some help. If you start drinking alone, if you're drinking in secret, if you're drinking as a way to cope with difficult situations or even trauma, when you drink, if you feel stressed or upset and physical pain or even bored, that means you're using this alcohol to manage your emotions as opposed to just, a fun time. And as you become more and more addicted, might start blacking out. You'll start forgetting things. Start lying like you
Hmm.
did, Christy. You were starting to lie to cover up for your drinking and shirking
Hmm.
your responsibilities. So when alcoholism or anything else starts interfering with your life, it becomes a problem. So get help now before you totally mess up your life. And at the very least, call a supportive friend. Christy, you had your husband. So talk to someone who will help you get better and not bullshit you. You got to,
Hmm. Right.
yeah, or even call.
I love that. You hit that so on the nose. They tell
Mm,
you exactly what you don't want to hear.
uh-huh.
Hmm. That is very, very important. Somebody really has to tell you what you don't want to hear to make you realize maybe that you have to change.
Mm-hmm. So suppose we should probably sum it up here. We should probably
Hmm.
wrap it up. Well, I am really glad that you got help when you did. You were going down a pretty dark path, and I'm glad you were able to rebound and save yourself. And I appreciate you being on the show today. And I'm so glad that we literally crossed paths at the Eau Claire Marathon and kept in touch afterwards.
Yes.
It's been cool. And
you are a total inspiration. I can't tell you that enough.
And you too. It's been great hearing your story, how you beat addiction and thrived, even in your early life after your mom left the family, and getting other support from a young age. You are truly resilient. For a while you gave up, you gave into this alcoholism, but now you don't give up when it's tough. You will face this challenge. We mentioned some of the physical problems that addiction and alcoholism can have. And we all know people who struggle with issues like this and the terrible side effects. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast with a purpose, was to raise money for medical research to help find cures and treatments for problems just like this. So if you find that your life is better because you learned from Christy's story today, and maybe a little bit of mine, please donate now. You can donate online at unstoppablestoriesthatmove.com, or you can mail me a check to P.O. Box 12 in Afton, Minnesota, 55001. Please help support the cause. It takes a village. So I got two final questions for you. The first one is, what's your bigger purpose?
Oh, my purpose is to help others realize there's hope and there's room for change. Don't ever give up on yourself. Ever. It's non-negotiable. Never give up on yourself. And don't just settle. Challenge yourself to do hard things. And talk to yourself kindly. Ellie, do not let that itty bitty shitty community talk to you in negative ways, or anybody else. Talk to yourself kindly. Treat yourself the way you would expect you treat somebody else. Talk to yourself kindly.
I love that. Yeah. Beyond just saying you're just good enough. Kick that itty bitty shitty committee to the curb.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also think about the time when you said yes to something outside of your comfort zone.
Yes.
You did something new and you tried it. Do you ever ask yourself, like, how am I going to know if I don't try it? I ask myself that every day.
Right.
Right. You know how powerful that is? I mean, how are you going to know if you don't try? I mean,
Right.
life is way too short. Of course, keep it in guidelines and make sure it's like a smart choice.
Yeah.
But, don't put off what you can do today for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You don't know if you don't try. I mean, if you don't try, then you're just always staying still. You're not moving forward. And my final question for you is, what makes you unstoppable?
I'm unstoppable because I replaced what was holding me back with habits that move me forward every single day. I never look back. And if I do look back, it just makes me realize how strong I am because I had the opportunity to settle or move forward. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, you had the opportunity to settle or move forward. You made that choice. Thanks for tuning into this episode. If this story hits home, please share it with your friends. Subscribe, support the podcast, leave a review, sign up for the Unstoppable newsletter, or send me a message. I would really love to hear from you. And if you want to do something even bigger, donate now. Support our mission to raise $1 million for medical research. You can donate online at unstoppablestoriesthatmove.com or mail a check to P.O. Box 12, Afton, Minnesota, 55001, USA. We can't get there without help from listeners like you. Together, we can save lives. I'm your host, Sally Hed Dahlquist. Thanks again for listening, and keep moving forward.